fierce opposition. We will defend our own territory. Our Lord worked so hard to improve this land, from F-rank to livable. We will not surrender to those criminal Mallorca, who commands such evil. We would rather die fighting than be slaughtered running away. We will make our stand here. The unified voices of the civilians brought Lakis back to a memory years ago, to the death of the former Lord of Calibia. His friend had urged him to abandon Calibia and pledge loyalty to another lord. But Lakis refused. He always believed in Calibia's future. And today, that future had arrived. He agreed to let the civilians fight. He armed them with the same weapons and armor as his soldiers. Suddenly, a scout rushed in, panicked. He shouted urgently, "The enemy! They're less than 10 kilometers away." Muniel Riki spun around, but the attacking force wasn't from Mario Cal's territory. It was Batman, the Lord of Ronella. Batman was gloating, completely unaware that his every move was already within my grasp. Jared, oh Jared, the shock and hatred you must feel. See me here, but you only have yourself to blame. You were so sure you could stop me on this road that you stationed all your forces here. You focused all your strength on this one path, but you didn't know that Hulkos had already infiltrated your territory. As Batman triumphantly declared the end of Calibia, his victory speech was cut short. In the next moment, he was stunned into silence. What the? Because standing before him wasn't Jared himself. It was a small soldier, disguised in armor identical to mine. Meanwhile, hidden on our side, Tove was confused. He quickly realized it was a trap. He'd wrongly assumed he was undetected. Now, all the intel he'd gathered was useless. He had to escape and report to Hulkus. But I'd anticipated this, waiting for Tove to make a move. Any suspicious action would send him straight to hell, just as the Lord predicted. A spy, and if I'm not mistaken. So, you're the one spreading Ronella's plague. According to our territory's laws, even if you died 100 times over, it wouldn't be enough to atone for your crimes. Dying just once is a mercy. Consider yourself lucky. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Hulkos rampaged down the path, arrogantly commanding his Mallorca soldiers. Anyone who resists will have their limbs severed. Those who surrender will be collared and brought back as slaves. If we win this battle, we'll live in comfort and luxury. Soldiers, raise your weapons and hunt them down. But as his command fell, in that very instant, Hulkos met the same fate, because I, who shouldn't have been there, unexpectedly appeared. Surprise, Hulku. Though I think you should be raising your shields, not your weapons, because next, I'm going to give you a special gift I've prepared. If you can withstand it, well, consider yourselves lucky, as the magical devices buried underground are all activated by me. Aklon immediately sensed something was wrong. He felt the surge of magical energy flowing from the ground. He instantly cast a defensive spell and ordered his 3 highly paid mages to do the same. But even so, against the widespread explosions, the soldiers, unable to defend themselves with magic, were pierced by the exploding projectiles or engulfed in the raging flames. The explosion's roar echoed across the land, reaching Batman's ears. A sixth sense warned him, a prickling dread, that something had gone terribly wrong. Mallorca's army, he realized, had been ambushed. But Batman quickly regained his composure. Even without Mallorca, he thought, he still commanded 1,800 men. He abandoned his original plan. Let Ronella's forces handle the enemy. After all, from the moment they formed their alliance, both sides had their own agendas. Once Corinthia fell, the next battle would be between Mallorca and Ronella. As the smoke cleared, the battlefield revealed Hulkus, his hand mangled and bleeding. His soldiers, along with Blaze mages, were completely wiped out, Akron reported. Hulkus was instantly filled with regret. He never could have imagined that I possessed such devastating power. Now, his only hope lay with Akron. But just as he urged Akron to find a way out, I appeared in a flash. I seized Akron by the throat, and with a levitation spell, shot straight up into the sky. Akron, witnessing my true strength, finally understood that I'd been hiding my power, acting weak intentionally. I almost pitied him for realizing it so late. 10,000 meters above the ground, I released Akron. He began to plummet, and then I gave him 2 choices. Does he use flight magic to avoid falling to his death and try to harvest some kills midair? But does he put up a protective barrier to try and block my devastating ice storm? Acheron is absolutely terrified. He's practically wetting himself. In the end, he's forced to choose a defensive spell. His plan, withstand the initial attack, then use flight magic at the last second to soften the impact, and hopefully survive. But, as expected, he fell right into my trap. I gave him a choice, sure, but I never said I'd stop attacking after the ice storm. I followed up with a strength-enhanced punch, shattering Acheron's defenses. And to truly finish him off, I unleashed a move from Earth. I locked him up tight, leaving him completely trapped. Acheron, on the other hand, he completely underestimated the purple magic circle below, and then he started gloating. He thought he had my plan all figured out. He then simultaneously cast a strength-enhancing spell, easily breaking free from my trap. This was all because Acheron was a level 4 mage, capable of efficiently distributing his stats. Although he showed a weak side during the promotion battle, when it came to magical prowess, he didn't think he was that far behind me. "Just give up and surrender," he yelled. "That pathetic shield of yours won't block my level 1. And after my shield shattered, Acheron continued to taunt. "Jared, all you ever do is rely on cheap tricks. I've already seen through your little scheme. You were planning to use that teleportation magic at the last moment before you hit the ground, escaping through the dimensional gate. Unable to withstand the immense impact of the fall, I plummeted to my death. I thought your bravado was all for show. It seems Acheron underestimated you. But little does he know, Acheron will soon pay the price for his arrogance, falling from a height of 10,000 meters, yet he showed no fear. Instead, he attempted to use high-level magic, its recoil, to accelerate his descent. Just as I was about to unleash a head-splitting, earth-shattering blow on Acheron, he inadvertently activated the teleportation magic below, and then he foolishly believed, "So, you think you figured out my next move? And now you're boosting your strength with magic, easily breaking free from my hold. Don't think a petty trick like that can defeat me. If I'm not mistaken, you plan to use flight magic. Knowing I can't withstand the impact of a vertical descent, you want me to fall to my death. Then, you'll escape through a dimensional portal while I'm plummeting. I admit, I underestimated you at first. A level 4 mage just like me, but I'll take that back. You're actually quite competent." Hearing his words, I immediately changed my tactics. Playing along with his deduction, I feigned frustration at being exposed. Seeing this, Bactrion, and added his strongest level 4 spell. "Great Fireball. It'll restrict your movements and accelerate our descent. Now it's your turn to choose. Useless Jerry, will you block my attack with a shield or use flight magic to stop our fall? Too bad. Either choice leads to your death." Acheron believed, even if Jerry survived this attack, he'd be the first one through the dimensional portal. If Jerry dared to follow, he'd face an immediate counterattack. But the moment Acheron was transported, his face twisted in horror. The portal's destination wasn't safety. It was a trap. By the time I teleported over, I saw Acheron impaled by dozens of long, hairy tendrils. I couldn't help but taunt him. "That look on your face. You seem curious, wondering where you went wrong. Let me tell you something. The moment you assumed the dimensional gate's destination was safe, you already made a fatal mistake. Besides, my storm magic blasts downward. It'll accelerate your fall. I'll let your fist hit me on purpose. It made it easier, too. You wanted to enter the dimensional gate so badly? Happy to oblige. They say fools have luck on their side. But a fool like you, your clever little schemes, so you thought, were nothing but predictable moves. Easily caught in my trap from start to finish. But don't feel too bad. You committed countless atrocities. It's time to reflect on your sins on your way to hell. With Acheron eliminated, I've completed the Dragon and Tiger Clash quest. Earned myself a sweet 15 wisdom points as a reward. Though what kind of Dragon and Tiger Clash was that? That Acheron guy couldn't even scratch my armor. Meanwhile, on the continent, Cordelia's hastily assembled 400-man army was no match for Ronella's 1,800 soldiers, and their relentless bombardment. The last line of defense is near the verge of collapse. At the same time, Lachesis spotted a group of enemies attempting a sneak attack. They completely bypassed the frontline clash, making a beeline straight for Calibia's supply lines. Hayes and the others were about to be slaughtered, but in the next moment, the enemy soldiers were suddenly sent flying by an unseen force. Lachesis was overjoyed, because the one protecting the supplies was Yuzin, the man he'd sent earlier. On my orders, And that wasn't all. He brought with him the former lord of Calebius, Barrett's Blue Guard, 100 strong, and 900 men from the special forces. The reason Yuzin resented me so much before was because the previous lord had forced him into retirement, even though Yuzin fiercely proclaimed his undying loyalty to Calebia's Barrett Guard. But he was cut short when the previous lord, using his father's death as an excuse, changed the subject. Ethan understood, though. The wastrel former lord had dismissed all the veteran soldiers, including him, from their posts. The real reason? Empty coffers. And why was that? The former lord's extravagant spending, of course, his reckless and indulgent lifestyle. This allowed opportunistic parasites to seize control of Calebia. As for the recent changes in Calebia, Ethan and the others dismissed them as mere coincidence. They remained skeptical until they witnessed the growing prosperity with their own eyes. Out of respect for the previous lord's past kindness, they decided to give Calebia's new lord one more chance. As for Barrett's Royal Guard, they've been his loyal warriors, fighting alongside him through countless battles. Their experience and strength far surpass anything Ranella or Majorca's armies can muster. Under Ocean's command, Ranella's forces were quickly routed. Beckman had no choice but to retreat. If he hadn't, by the time I, a 4th-level mage, returned, he would have faced certain death. Meanwhile, I caught up to the fleeing Hokius. Judging by that punch I dodged, I'd say he's barely stronger than Trash. Maybe just a smidge better than Lee's. Then, Hokius started whining. If you've got the guts, come down here and fight me. Don't be a coward, hiding up there in the sky. Hearing that, I immediately unleashed a torrent of flames. Want me to come down? Fine, but you have to get off your high horse first. A massive inferno erupted, engulfing Hulkos in a blazing embrace. With this one attack, Hulkos was practically crippled. I knew all along, you never intended to coexist peacefully. That's why I kept my true strength hidden, waiting to wipe you all out in one fell swoop. And as I spoke, I launched another volley of magic missiles at Hulkos. As for the mess in Ranella's territory, I'll clean it up for you. I will purge all the filth that exists, cleansing every inch of this land, until it is pure. But just then, Hulkus let out a chilling laugh. Don't think killing me is the end of this. The commander of the Imperial Knights is my uncle. When he finds out you killed me, he'll lead the knights here for revenge. I pulled out my notebook, containing all my memories of Paradiso. Know what this is? Let's see if this Count Brox actually comes to avenge you. My words hit him hard. Hulkus was stunned. How? How do you know my uncle's name? I replied, this notebook took me a whole week of no sleep or food to write. It contains my personal strategies and character profiles. While writing it, I realized something. You're actually somewhat connected to Count Brooks. But do you really believe the esteemed commander of the Edema Empire's Knights would be so bored as to come rescue you? Even if he would, it's a 5,000-kilometer journey. That's 4 kingdoms and 14 territories to cross. Coming here might be a tad difficult. If you have a brain, you should be able to guess which is more likely, him coming or not. It's pretty obvious. I also know this. He's a man who values his reputation. You're nothing but a stumbling block to him. Frankly, you could die 1,000 times, and he wouldn't care. As for what's next, it's time to send him on his way. Go reflect on your actions with Acreon. At that moment, I unleashed a wide-scale ice spell. As it spread, I asked Halkus if he had any last words, but instead, he pulled the dagger from his leg and lunged at me. In an instant, I brought the full force of the freezing magic down. Halkus was frozen solid, his agonized screams echoing around us. I suppose those were his last words after all. With Halkus defeated, I'd won my first territorial war. The quest rewarded me with 50 charm points, but I received another reward as well, 50 charm points. However, there was no time to bask in victory. I quickly changed into Majorca's clothes and continued the campaign. After all, from the very beginning, my goal has always been the same, to capture both Ranella and Majorca. The end result? Majorca changed hands in an instant. Ranella, however, presented a slight hiccup, and that's because an unexpected major player entered the scene. The Lord of Mizelia territory, Count Capri. You guessed it. He came to mediate. He stated that, since Calabria has merged with Majorca, the root cause of the problem has been eliminated. I have a different perspective. I never said the problem originated with just one person. Count Capri then offered a suggestion. Lord Bartman will compensate Corbelia for the wealth lost in this conflict. We will also sign a truce agreement. While he was speaking, I quickly used my eye of insight on him, and I discovered that Capri wants Ranello all for himself. He intends to claim the entire territory. But due to this guy's special traits, either A-rank tough skin or B-rank magic resistance, he's basically a walking tank to mages. With my current strength, forcing him to back down is unrealistic. Plus, his territory and army are more than double the size of Corbelia's. He's one of the strongest mid-tier lords. So the best option right now is to agree to his proposal. I'll be heading from the northern continent, down south towards the central region. I'll have to pass through Massilia territory along the way. And when that time comes, I'll settle the score with that arrogant bastard for what he did today. Later that night, deep in the heart of Majorca, a band of criminals working for Halkus were gathering their loot and supplies. They planned a midnight escape, but they didn't know I was already on to them. I'd seen right through their little scheme. Leo Alfaroya, where do you think you're going in such a hurry? This pocket watch is an artifact capable of completely neutralizing magic. It's called spatial distortion because it creates a 20-meter radius around the user of distorted space. Every mage has to step into this domain. Otherwise, any magic they try to cast will be practically nullified. I've been lying in wait, and finally, I caught Paria trying to make a run for it. I decided to play it cool and casually asked, "Hey there, Paria. Up late? Aren't you? Heading home to see your girlfriend?" I added, "I've got some resources on hand. If you're interested, I can hook you up." Paria responded arrogantly, "I don't have time to play games with you." With that, he flipped open the pocket watch on his chest. It was one of his artifacts, spatial distortion. I instantly launched several magic missiles at him. "I'm even busier than you are," I retorted. "Gotta catch you and the rest of your..." Just as the magic missiles were about to hit Paria, space warped, flashing a blinding light. Suddenly, around Paria, a 20-meter radius circle of light appeared. The missiles, once hurtling forward, froze in midair. This sight nearly made Lake's jaw drop. "Is Paria a mage too?" he asked. I shook my head. "It's the artifact," I explained, "the one he wears on his chest. But I'm only a level 4 mage. If I could use level 5 magic or higher, the artifact wouldn't restrict me. To break through, whether I liked it or not, I had to get within 20 meters of Paria. The leader of the Declare Crime Syndicate will be executed here and now. It's either him or me today." Hearing this, Faroa asked if I wasn't tired. "The war just ended, and I'm already after him? How about this? Give me a reward. We'll take the money and turn a blind eye. Just leave us out of it. I really don't want to have my men clash with the new Lord Nyong. If we fought here, Lakis and the others could get seriously hurt, or even killed. But if I let Faroa go, he could end up like Lena, joining the Demon King's army, becoming one of them. Your money will be mine anyway. You're in no position to bargain with me." Seeing his bribe fail, Paria immediately drew his other divine weapon, a specially forged alkali-resistant blade, perfect for magic combat. "You think you're so high and mighty just because you beat some nobody like Akron? Don't underestimate me. I'm far stronger than him. Well, does he know? That's exactly why I'm not afraid. When my level is lower than my opponent's, Duke's bracelet activates, doubling both my strength and